Hello, welcome to Founder on Flights. Thank you so much for being here, for tuning in. In full transparency, I've been having other conversations. I've been recording episodes in advance. So I've recorded a few guest episodes before I'm recording this one, and you're going to hear them after. But that has been amazing because the conversations that I'm having are making me realize how important this podcast is before it even launches, which I'm really grateful for. When I first came up with the idea for the podcast, it was very funsy, like I'm traveling, I'm like meeting cool people, and yeah, I wanted to like share these really important stories, but I think with the state of the world right now, it is January 2026 as I record this, and just actually opening up the conversation is so much more intimate and I think so much more real than I ever expected, ever intended, and it's really for the best. These perspectives, like I knew it was cool, I knew these were really important stories to be told, but I think actually hearing them say it, and also a lot of these people I have like very personally met and shared experiences with, and I think us sitting down and fully recapping and reflecting on these different periods in both of our lives where we relate on some of it, we maybe went different ways, but there is that core understanding of migrating to find your soul's purpose, or finding your soul's purpose while migrating, and loving on, learning from, and really embracing community as you do that. I knew that was a common theme, but I don't think I really knew the weight of that when I first started this. And having these conversations is really showing me that, and I'm really grateful for it. Like I said, especially with what's happening in the world right now, it's important to see these perspectives and to kind of put yourself in someone else's shoes. And I said it, I'll say it again. Everybody needs to travel at least once in their life. You need to get out of your city, your state, your hometown, your country. You have to see how other people are living. It's just, you are not fully understanding like your full humanness unless you are able to see other humans living their life in a really different way. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I highly, highly recommend that. As I say all of this, I have recently been throwing around the idea of moving again, which is not anything crazy coming from me. I did just come back to Seattle 6 months ago, and I have about 6 months on my lease. It was something, I'm realizing I have a pattern, okay? I'm realizing that I do this thing where I unintentionally take 6 months on, 6 months off for traveling. And each time, okay, so this is not the point of the podcast, but I have to explain this. Each time I do this, I start a new chapter. I literally look at my life in chapters. If I am selling everything and traveling, going backpacking as I did to start, that feels like a new chapter to me. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. I know that this is what I want to be doing in my life. And then I do it. And then, time passes. And for many reasons, I eventually get burnt out. And because I'm like, oh, I wasn't able to do the thing that I knew I wanted to do, I knew this was like my life's calling, then I must have been wrong. And actually, I need stability. That's actually what I need to do. So then I give up, really, and go back home, aka the US, and I find an apartment and I settle down. And then I love that, and it's really great and it's really helpful. I get what I need. 6 months to a year later, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't be here. I am not meant to be in one place. I need to be moving around. I need to be learning new things. I am becoming dumb because I'm not exploring. I'm not like pushing for new experiences and challenges and all the things that I feel like I get when I'm traveling. And each time, I don't know why I lie to myself. I'm like, nope, this is it. This is it. So last year I started realizing that I was doing that and kind of being like, all right, let me stop playing because I know that I do this and I know that this is a pattern. So I don't want to keep saying, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Because actually life can just be in chapters. It can just come in phases. I can be really needing travel right now, really needing that kind of lifestyle or whatever it is. And then I could need a break from that. I could need to switch it up. And what I've come to is I really am just someone who needs to either find a better way to balance it all, which right now that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, or I'm just someone who likes to do both. 6 months here, 6 months there, 6 months here, 6 months there. That's okay. But I have in my head for some reason that that's not. I don't know why. But anyways, so I am currently back in that. I haven't been for a while. Honestly, this is like the longest I've gone being chill in one spot. So since July to now January, so probably, like 7-ish months, I have been fully set on leaving Seattle when our lease ends, but moving to New York. And I think for many reasons that, and that was still also kind of like settling for me because that's the first time I will have gone from an apartment to another apartment, like in the same country. So that was going to be still in the vibe of settling for me. I've recently been kind of flipping and being like, you know what? No, I think I need to get back out there. One of the many reasons that I get to this point is lifestyle and quality of life. What I've realized in the past few months is, it's also winter, but I think that has a big part in it. It's been winter and fall in Seattle and it is gloomy. And I've been here for a winter fall before. I don't know what it is. Honestly, it might just be me evolving. I'm just not about it anymore, but it's been rough. Okay, it's gloomy, it's dark, it's cold. I love hibernating, but your girl needs some vitamin D. But not just vitamin D. I need an ocean. I need to be in my bikini. Like, I need, like, the full thing. We'll have a sunny day here, and I'm just like, nah, it's gonna be gone tomorrow. Okay, but I'm also not on ground floor. I'm in an apartment. I'm not on the first floor. So I just, like, feel not grounded, which I have to admit, I've never like fully subscribed to like you need to ground yourself just because I've personally not like had a lot of experience with that. But I feel it now. I'm like, I am too far from the ground. I feel like I'm just floating in space. And anything that I want to do, if I want to go to a farmer's market or to the park, which I have parks nearby, if I want to walk, I just feel like, well, first I have to walk down all these flights of stairs. Then I have to walk a few streets that are really long out of my neighborhood. And then I have to get like, and that sounds like I'm complaining, but when what I'm comparing it to is like when I lived in Puerto Escondido in Mexico and I was 1 block from the ocean, 1 block from the main street. And all of my friends lived around me. There was not very much in my house, so I didn't really care to be there. It was like, I'm gonna be here to work, or I'll work out at a coffee shop or sleep, but I'm gonna be at the beach. I'm gonna be with my friends. I'm gonna be going out to eat or going to like a get together or whatever it is. So it just feels so much easier to engage in a healthy, exciting lifestyle, whereas here it's a lot easier to stay inside. Even in the summer, like, yeah, we're a lot more active here in Seattle in the summer, but I still feel like it takes more effort to make it happen versus just walk outside and you're already there. So anyways, that's a long story about why I'm kind of like thinking about this and this is top of mind. But all of this being said, I want to make sure that I do it the right way because like I just told you, I don't want to be burning out. Like I don't want to be traveling for 6 months again, really enjoying it, and then 6 months later be like, no, I can't do it. Like I think in my dream life I would have multiple homes. Everybody in the world would have a home, but I would have multiple homes, and one of those would be in the US because my family's here, and then one would be like in Peru, maybe Mexico, and then somewhere in Europe. That would be ideal. So I don't like want to like live in the US, honestly. When I think about my next like 40 years, 50, 60 years, whatever, I'm like, yeah, I don't love the lifestyle here. I'd love to be like getting old on a beach, you know, somewhere else. So I want to figure out a way to make this work to where I'm not at that point where I'm like begging to go back home and I cannot function. So I'm like, I don't even want to figure out how to make this work. There's no way to make it work. I need to go home. That's just not sustainable and not fun anyways. So all of this to say, this is like the longest intro, but in this episode, I'm going to share with you 3 things that I've learned about myself while traveling that I'm currently reflecting on too, because I want to make sure that I am creating an ideal scenario if I go nomadic again. You've probably heard running a business is like a crash course on self-development. This is true. If you have a business, you can probably attest to that. I think to add to that, traveling full-time is also a crash course on self-development. Do both together, and I feel like I have been so many different people in my life, because in each version of myself, like I have fully evolved into a different person. And so I think that and that also kind of goes with the way that the fact that I look at everything in chapters. So I also will say like, oh, my Mexico chapter taught me this. My Mexico 2.0 chapter taught me that. Or my Santa Monica chapter, when I lived in Santa Monica, this is what I learned. And then I try to take each one of those and then turn it into a lesson. And then in the next chapter, do something different. So that's where all of this is coming from too. These are things that I've learned from doing both of those things together, and that I want to take into consideration and fully build my life differently and in like support of these lessons going forward, so that I can like optimize. I don't know, that sounds like really structured. Okay, but I'm a systems person. I'm a business manager. That's what I do. So that's how my brain works. Okay, so the first lesson is kind of probably clear by now. I need a good balance of structure and spontaneity. And what I mean by that is like I just explained to you, my brain is very structured. I think of everything logistically. I need a system. I need a plan. I'm like the person who, if my to-do list doesn't have the task that I just did, I will write it on my to-do list and then cross it out. Because I need to have these systems in place that like reward me and keep me on track and keep me showing up to do the things that I need to do. So I need structure, especially running a business. I need to check in with my clients. I'm working in my clients' businesses, so they have deadlines. We have to get systems up and running. We have launches, things like that. So in general, I need to have Wi-Fi. I need to have some sort of set schedule. I need to know where I'm going to be and when. At all times, because I have clients to support. Okay, but that also means I could be here recording this podcast and then be in Mexico City next week launching a system. Like, I also need to have that ability and freedom to jump around and to be surprised, to have things happen that are unexpected. I need to be in a new place, find a new coffee shop, like that's how I keep things exciting. I think the way I see that right now is like right now I'm at my apartment in Seattle and I'm working on my business. There's a lot of structure, and what happens is, and maybe some people can relate to this too if you have ADHD. I'm not diagnosed with ADHD, but I feel like I definitely have some form of it, and it plays out in ways kind of like this. But yeah, so I'm home. My schedule is very open right now, but I'm working on my business. I have a little part-time job, and that's it. So like, there's not a whole lot of newness. There's not a whole lot of like, spontaneity, surprises, excitement. It's very expected what I'm going to be doing every day. And I think because I'm at my apartment and it's the same thing every day, I find myself a lot of the times unable to focus, unable to get motivated, unable to be creative. I feel like I need something to really activate and stimulate my brain and my like, even just my body, like getting things going. Like I thrive when I have a really busy day because I feel like my brain is able to jump around and be focused on stuff. It's like I have 2 brains. I mean, like subconscious, but I don't think it's that. Maybe it's that. Like my subconscious is focused on, I don't know if that's right, but on like other things, or like it's what, okay, you see, this is what I'm talking about. It's like when you go to a bar to read, right? I just did that the other day, and it works because the maybe subconscious part of my brain is listening to the commotion and the people around me and processing that in the back end. I'm not conscious of that. I'm not paying attention to that. But because that part of my brain is occupied, the front part of my brain, the conscious part, can read my book and focus. But I always need to have that other part of my brain occupied, or else it will start wandering, it'll get distracted, and then it'll pull my conscious brain into that. Does that make sense? I feel that a lot. I think that's why like fidget spinners work. Anytime I'm on a call, I'm sitting here like throwing my chapstick around. Being in my apartment, there's not much stimulation. It's pretty predictable. But when I'm in a new country, everything is new. So on a larger scale, I think, than just like, oh, the back of my subconscious is processing the stuff around me. It's like my whole being is dealing with so much newness. I feel excited so I can focus and get stuff done. And everything is exciting because where I am is exciting and my life is exciting. But if everything is boring, then I'm bored. Let me know if you can relate to that, because I know that also just sounds like, I don't know, crazy, but that's also been the reason that I have lived all these different lives and I've been to all these places and created all these things, because I listen to that and I do the thing. Yeah, so I think that's definitely something I'm going to take into consideration going forward is, yes, I want to be traveling and be in new places, try new things and all of that, but I need to have some sort of structure too. And for me, especially because we travel with our cats, that looks like being somewhere long term. Long term, I mean 3 to 6 months. In last year, at the beginning of the year, we did 3 months in Mexico, 3 months in Peru. And that was the first time with both cats. Second is community is a non-negotiable at this point. When we first went backpacking in Mexico, we met people along the way. A lot of them I'm going to be asking to come on this podcast. And we definitely made friends, but we were very much sponges at that point. We were just soaking it all in, not even sure what we were doing. In Bali, I didn't really prioritize making friends as much. It was more just like going on adventures. I wasn't staying in a lot of hostels. But this last year, I've realized how important it is to have people who not only are like your friends and there for you and care if you show up, but it's important to have people who are like you too. On one hand, it's easy to find other travelers when you're traveling. You can stay at a hostel and easily connect with people. But then finding entrepreneurs who are also traveling, then you've hit the jackpot. It's just a certain kind of understanding that you have of another digital nomad. I don't like that term, but like we're going through the same things. We're both uncomfortable. We're both not at home. We're both doing something unfamiliar, but we're both doing it because we love it. On top of that, we also understand how important it is to prioritize work and those conversations. There's just a certain type of connection that you have. And I think that that's really, really vital when your whole life otherwise is pretty all over the place. This also could come from just in general, like I have not had any entrepreneur friends that I've just met in person. Never mind, I take that back. When I have gone to events and networking and things like that, I have made friends. But honestly, I could count on my hand how many times that's happened. Maybe that's because I'm not prioritizing that in my lifestyle, but when I have been traveling, it's kind of just happened again a lot more effortlessly, and being able to have both of those while traveling really becomes a non-negotiable at that point, because I think that that's also, you get lonely after a while when you're just bouncing around, going to new places, having a new bed every night, trying to, going through this routine of where am I staying? Where am I eating? What am I doing? Like that's a lot of newness. It's a lot to manage. If you are not breaking that up with hanging out with people, making new experiences, making new connections, it gets lonely. And I say that even with traveling with my partner. when we first went to Mexico, like I told you, we did not really prioritize community. It was just us. And we did a lot of fun things, but it wasn't something that we really prioritized and poured into. And we got burnt out so quickly. We were not taking care of that part of us that really needed relationships and connections. And I didn't know that was the issue because I was already so burnt out that I didn't even have the energy mentally to dissect that. That's definitely something that I don't want to say I regret because everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, but I want to definitely take this as a lesson going forward. Number 3 is listen to my gut. This is a lesson that I don't know, I'm kind of working on because the other part of that should be careful. Listen to my gut, but be careful. I do think that there are times where my gut was correct and I either listened to it and it really worked out and it was really what I needed, or I didn't listen to it and got myself in a situation that I did not want to be in. For example, when we moved here to Seattle, my original plan was to be moving to New York. And when we came back from traveling, it felt like a big deal to move to New York. Not only is it completely new, and we had just spent 6 months with newness and new experiences and all those things, and I was like, I just really want something familiar right now. But it also was financially, we had spent a bit of our savings while traveling, and I wanted to make sure that going to New York was a good experience and it wasn't something that like I was not, or we weren't really prepared for, so then that ruined the experience. So I kind of explained it to myself and we concluded together that, okay, we're going to take a year break, move to Seattle because it's familiar, we can save, plan, then move to New York and be fully ready to lock in and have that experience. Well, now in hindsight, I'm like, why did I listen to that? I thought that was my gut, but no, my gut wanted to move to New York. And then I, like, out of fear, created this story as to why it was okay not to go. Everything happens for a reason, so I don't regret it. But yeah, I do have to kind of like I have to remind myself of that a lot, because I often this whole year I'm like, oh my god, I could have been in New York, and now I'm thinking about traveling again, so that is just gonna get put off yet again. But I digress. I do trust my gut. I think that I need to put in a little bit more of a filter before I make the move on something, because I think my gut is correct, but I also think in these times of being burnt out and pushing too far, my judgment gets really clouded. So I'm not exactly sure how to implement that yet, but it's definitely something that I need to figure out. Yeah, I just don't want, and these decisions that we are making are so permanent. I mean, they're not permanent, but they're so long term, like a year. We committed to a year because of this lie. And then if we leave, that's it's a lot of work to do these big changes. And so I really want to figure out how to sit with myself longer and really dissect where these gut checks are, or I guess do a gut check to figure out where it's coming from. My intuition lies sometimes. I guess it's not my intuition if it's lying, but you get what I'm saying. But at the same time, my gut has told me, okay, we're done here, let's move to New York. And that's what we do. And not New York, Mexico. And that's what we did. And it was the beginning of the rest of my life. When I moved to Seattle, when I started my business, I had just moved to a new apartment and then I quit my job because I was like, I do not want to be waking up at 5 a.m. And that was enough. That was my gut telling me that. And so I created my whole business, which was the beginning of the rest of my life, life changing. So my gut is correct a lot of the time. And I think that has a lot to do with who I am today because of these big decisions that I've made. So yeah, I just need to implement a gut check. I don't know, it's wild to come on here and unpack a lot of experiences that I've had over the last few years. And then to now I had fully decided that part of my life was over and I was just going to be going on trips, but not really full-time stuff. And now to be fully back into that and rethinking about all this stuff. I just am seeing it in such a different light, which is really cool for you and for this podcast because it's a different perspective. And like I said, I think these conversations I'm going to be having with people, these breakdowns that I'm going to be doing for my own stories are going to be really cool. And who knows, maybe season 2 will be in Europe. I'm just kidding. Not me trying to announce my move on this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing is set, but maybe I'll let you guys know first. As always, you can reach me on Instagram or TikTok. I'll have the show notes and links down in the description. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next one.